Well, Jesse, we've got a hot topic today. This is one that, well, a lot of people have kind of mixed views about.
Yeah.
So as you know, there's a whole range of kind of the big four, big five or so, and everybody's got their opinions about how these different servicers are to work with in completing and closing a short sale.
So that would be Chase.
Yeah, we got Chase,
Wells
we
Fargo,
got Wells, we got
Bank of America.
B of A.
Those are the big three.
Those are the big three, so we'll start with them. And all three of them have kind of mixed reputations as far as their willingness to be to close a short sale. And I think B of A probably started out of the gate as being one of the worst, if not the worst, to work with.
Yeah, a little bit of history about Bank of America. I want to say in the end of 2007, they acquired Countrywide Home Loans, which Countrywide was probably the biggest independent mortgage banker at the time. And the writing was kind of on the wall when the marketing shifted that Countrywide was not going to make it through this.
They were actually one of the first ones to put up the white flag.
Well, and they were one of the biggest subprime lenders out there.
Right.
And so B of A acquired Countrywide, which meant that...
and we have no judgment about that. That's another topic. So,
but basically from, for 2008, 2009, 2010, I would say that we had a lot more experience, or we heard a lot more stories about short sales with Bank of America, purely because of their Countrywide portfolio.
They had huge volume to deal with.
Right. And so I will say during that time, let's say in 2010, Dennis, you were approached to do a short sale with Bank of America. What was your reaction?
Oh, please.
I know. I mean, they were the worst.
It was horrible.
It was literally 5 months from the day you got an offer to the day you might get an approval.
Well, frankly, the first B of A file that I ever closed took 9 months to get through, beginning to end.
Right, and so they were pretty awful to deal with.
They were hideous.
Now, I will say though that now if I were to come to you and say I have a Bank of America short sale, what's your reaction?
Let's plug it into Equator. Let's get going.
Yeah, so basically they've made a lot of changes that have been for the better, and I can say with a lot of confidence that other circumstances aside, I can get a Bank of America service loan, I can get a short sale on that file within about 6 weeks. Right. And it's primarily due to one factor.
One element that they've added to the mix that a lot of other folks are starting to recognize the value of.
And I'm not in love with this element, but basically they adopted a program called Equator that they use, and if you have a loan serviced by Bank of America, they may have even referenced this to you. But basically, they have a program that agents that we can access, that the bank can access, and it allows us for, I would say, easier communication between the two. At least, what I would say is that it's a platform for tasks and deadlines. It makes all of that easier so you can have a better understanding of how the file is moving forward.
Well, it also gives you someone to communicate with. It's not like you're just talking to the wall. You're not faxing things into the abyss, and you're not dealing with kind of the endless progression of bureaucracy. You actually have a name, a number, and an email that you're communicating with on the other end, and you know that there's someone that you can actually work with on this file.
Right, so Equator is the system, and the thing is Bank of America, all of their files are now on Equator. There are a few other banks that are now moving over to Equator as well.
Right.
GMAC, I know, is using Equator. Wells is starting to use them on a few files. Right. Citibank is using them on a few. NationStar is using them as well. So Equator is probably going to be around for a while, and it is making at least Bank of America short sales easier. And it's important that if you have a Bank of America short sale that you're considering, make sure that the agent that you are using is familiar with the Equator system.
These days you've got to be versed in that platform or you're going to be fighting it uphill.
And it doesn't make the process that much easier for the agent. You still have to be an experienced short sale agent.
Right. Equator
is not a cure-all. You can't take a dumb agent, put them into Equator, and have it work effectively. Yeah,
well, and I think that's another thing to comment on, is that it's not what I'd consider the most user-friendly platform I've ever seen.
No.
They're gradually improving it, but it is something that takes some immersion in order to figure it out. And if you haven't put the time in to figure that out, it's not going to be a very useful tool.
And the best thing, and the number one thing I'll say about Equator and Bank of America files is timeliness. Getting your deadlines done as soon as they're assigned to you and not waiting until the deadline hits.
That's absolutely essential. They get really upset about things.
Well, not just that, but the file gets done. Those deadlines are essential. You get things done right away.
Right.
It moves all the deadlines
Everything
up.
keeps moving forward.
So,
yep.
Anyway, Bank of America files are honestly, they're not that bad in 2012, 2011,
Happy
2012. They're not that bad, and so I talked to an agent this week. We have a new Bank of America short sale that we just listed, and the agent's like, "Oh, it's Bank of America. That's awful." And I said, "No, honestly, we can get approval in 6 weeks. Just get us an offer." And so a lot of agents need education on that as well. But Bank of America, who used to be the bane of the short sale world, has improved, and we can close them without too much trouble. So. If you are a Bank of America short sale candidate, we encourage you to reach out to us and leave us a comment or send us a question or fill out a short sale application. We're more than happy to tell you what we know about the Bank of America short sale process. So, all right, thank you.
Thanks.